you just talk to us about when you got the call, how you found out you were going to be back in the tournament?
Yeah, I was at home. I was with my daughter, and Ray called me, but I had missed the call. So he and I had been talking about one of my younger teammates possibly fighting on the MSG card in a potential matchup. So I thought he was calling me back in regard to that. And then when he called me right away, he's like, "Have you been training? Are you in shape?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in shape. Why?" And he's like, "You're in, brother." So that threw me off because we were talking someone else's fight, and it it felt good. It felt like finally, I've been the alternate other situations. This is, I think, the fourth time that I've been the alternate, and to finally go like 1 for 4 as getting in, because I've seen other people get in, but it never happened for me before. So it was nice one time to finally, especially when I have the same amount of points as the other guy that's in the playoffs. It felt like it was kind of just to be in.
Did you know immediately who was out? Did he tell you, or when he was telling you about the fight, did you kind of know in your mind like who it was that
No,
was
I
out?
had to say like, "Who is it?" And then he said it's Mobley, and then I asked what happened, and then he was kind of like trying to give me the rundown of what was going on, um, and he said there was something going on with the vision situation. So I just, but at that point it was almost like murmuring because I just now my mind's racing about like I'm in. Oh shit, let's go.
And you said you were in shape. Were you staying in shape to potentially come in, or were you just staying in shape just because that's how you live your life?
It's kind of how I live my life, but I had this feeling just sometimes you can't explain things in life, and I had this feeling leaving the cage that night after the submission victory that like it's just not supposed to go down this way. Obviously, as I walked out of the cage, I was in first, so I had a lot of um, positive feeling about making the playoffs. But then all those finishes, so I was like, everyone was like apologizing to me. It's crazy how it went down, and I was just something in my head was like, "Nah, you're good. Like keep training, go right back in." And I told my coach, like that Monday, I was like, "Hey, you got any time? Can we train Monday?" He's like, "Yeah." You sure? Yeah. You want to come in? All right, let's do it. But I kept a good mindset, and yeah, I think it helped me somehow, some way. I don't know how to explain that.
And what do you think of this matchup?
Listen, all the guys that are left in the playoffs are super tough. This is one of the most stacked divisions. So, um, Gabriel he's a great dude. He's a tough fighter. I have a lot of respect for them, and but I think it's a good matchup. I think I match up well with a lot of people.
Who do you see yourself fighting in the finals?
I mean, normally in most instances, I would say, it looks like it could be me and Bubba, but I mean, Pineda has proven now that like he's just a total wild card. He had a great fight with Gabriel in the first fight, and they went toe to toe, went the whole distance. I watched the fight a few times, and I'm still like, it was a split, but it was like one of those true splits where you're like, damn, who won that thing? Um, and then you watch him take Brendan out, who's a killer in his own right. So he's got this wild card feel to him where I don't want to like commit, and I don't want to do him a disservice by saying like not giving him a shot at things because it looks like he can make things happen.
Thank you.
Chris, fifth time you've made the playoffs. How's it feel, man?
Listen, it feels great to make the playoffs. I think it shows a level of consistency and resilience in a tough sport and in like a tough format. And I think that, uh, had I taken a few down, like had I won that first year where I had that really close fight with Scholl, or gotten one in the midst, I would be more happy to speak about how many times I've been in the playoffs. But there's a lot of unfinished business for me just because I haven't gotten that strap yet. So even though I'm proud of myself that I'm always one of the guys that are down to the end to show how good of a fighter I am, I need to break through and win it all.
You fought some tough fights. You've been around. You know, you've seen a lot that the game of MMA brings to the table. But you're an underdog going into this fight, man. Do you feel like a sense of disrespect? Does that not even matter to you?
No, it doesn't matter to me. I haven't looked at lines or betting. I've been the favorite and I've lost, and I've been the underdog and I've won. So you know, that is what it is. I know what this fight is. People who know fighting know what this fight is. So sounds like there's good money out there to be had, right?
Last time, you know, when Jesus Pinedo, you know, shocked the world basically and finished Brandon Loughnane, what was your initial reaction, man, when you saw that?
That one I could not believe. But also it was this whoa, and then we were trying to figure out like what are the tiebreakers here because of me having 6 points. So it was this sense of shock in just what had occurred, and then a little confusion about what are the tiebreakers, and then kind of like a letdown because we figured out that like the tiebreaker it went to was the time of
Yeah,
finishes
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah. So a lot of emotions played through my head in like a 1 minute span. It's crazy.
and last question for me is, I mean, to all the people that have supported you, your career, why do you feel like this year's going to be different? Why do you feel like you're going to deliver a championship this year?
Listen, I've been knocking at the door. I've been working harder. If you ask anybody at my gym for the last like year and a half, I've been working harder than I ever worked in my career. I've sacrificed a lot, and I've been through some stuff. And in the beginning of the year, I wasn't not here to make excuses for anything, but I wasn't probably in a position where I should have been fighting, period. But when the season starts, and there's no excuses to be made. And it meant a lot to come back and have the performance that I had in my last fight from a personal perspective. And I think that I just feel like I feel something. You know what I mean? It's hard to say and explain to people, but I'm here for a reason. I feel that.
Thank you, Chris.
Chris, are you one of those people that kind of feel like things happen for a reason and stuff happens for a reason, and in this case, do you feel like this has all happened for a reason?
Absolutely, I do. Like I said to you, I can't explain it, but there's people even around here that were talking to me as I was leaving Georgia, and I was basically saying to them like, something feels like it's not done with yet, and they were like, all right, buddy, you know, get on the plane. We'll see you later. But I don't know, man. It feels almost like someone's talking to me, like, you know, relax, keep working hard. You're gonna be there, and it's like unfolding, you know. Even the second fight, I was sitting in interviews with these guys, and they're like, you know, it's basically almost impossible for you to make the playoffs. You have to get like a first round finish, and you got to do all these things, and I was like, first of all, I've done it before, so it's not impossible, and like, don't count me out. And then I went and basically did everything that I said I was going to do. If you go back and look at those interviews, and my mind is just in a different place right now, and people don't understand that, but I feel it. My coaches see it. My family knows it, and it's just time. It is.
How quickly did you ring Ray back? Because I've known fighters who have got a phone call, but they've been in the gym and like they've missed it, and they've run the promoter back, and they said, "Oh, sorry, we had to move on. We didn't have time to." How quickly did you return the phone call, and were they up against the clock? Like, was there potential that you could have actually missed the opportunity if you weren't so quick?
Oh, that's a good question because I'm not sure how that works, but it wasn't too long. I had missed the call, like it was like maybe like 5 or 10 minutes, and I gave him a ring back. I thought I was getting one of my other guys an opportunity to compete, and I didn't want to mess up his opportunity, and I called him right back. But I think Ray was waiting to get in touch with me because he followed it up with a text like, "Hey, I need to talk to you, brother." So it felt like an important text, so I called him right back.
So you felt like their plan was always for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Chris, you had mentioned that you had a mentality of just always fighting and
Well, I grew up a wrestler, and we just had like a big group of very close friends, and we wound up getting into a lot of fights like outside of wrestling.
Something
Obviously.
you shouldn't have been doing.
I mean, hey, some of them probably know, but some of them probably you'd say like, hey, you guys did the right thing, or whatever the case was. But I was always there for my brothers or my friends, so I had it in me, obviously, but I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna fight or I'm gonna box or whatever the case may be. I just wanted to college wrestle, and then the Ultimate Fighter show, the one that everybody kind of got going on, that sparked my interest, and I just had a guy locally in town that was his son wrestled, was friends with my youngest brother, and he was like, you gotta try kickboxing out, and that led me down the road of trying kickboxing. Once I saw I was pretty successful at that, I was like, damn, I could probably do this MMA thing. And I took it step by step because I was working. I had like a career that I was going down. I worked for Budweiser, and I just kept winning fights though. So I took it like a step at a time, and I got myself to a point. I was like 5-0, 6-0 pro, and I was like, I gotta make a decision here. I'm like burning the candle at both ends. I would train all day, and then I would go work a midnight shift, 11 to 7 a.m. I would sleep, wake up in the middle of the day, go back to train. It just was, my life was messed up, you know.
Sounded like the journeyman kind of mindset of how you had to handle it, you know.
Yeah, it very much was, but it was just doing messed up stuff, you know. It messed up my relationships. It was messing with like time spent with my family. I'm waking up in the middle of the day. People are at work that I normally would spend time with, and then it's dinner time, and I'm going back to work, and they're going and settling in on the couch for the night. So it was just like something had to give, you know, and that's where I went with it.
Just full on fighting.
Yeah, actually my bosses were like, they sat me down. I was pushing for promotions, and I got passed up a couple times. I was like, what is going on here? I'm out working these dudes. And they were like, listen, you know, basically admitted they knew I spent a lot of time fighting, and they were concerned about my time split, and they kind of encouraged me to go pursue fighting.
Those are some good bosses.
Yeah, they were like, this will always be here, you know, that won't, go do your thing.
What year did you end up leaving work?
Budweiser,
Yeah.
that was like 2012.
Right, so you've been like over 10 years now.
Yeah, I've been fighting pro for like 11 years now.
Right.
10, 11 years.
Out of interest, what was your role at Budweiser?
Well, I worked for this company, Claire Rose. They're like the main distributor for Budweiser on Long Island. So I had gotten my CDL where I could drive and deliver tractor trailers, and I was working in the warehouse loading the trucks, trying to get a route. Like, so when you get a route, you get assigned a territory, and you make, you know, commission on the sales in that route, and that's where I was kind of like working towards. And then I wanted to like go off into management there after that, but I never quite got to that point because I couldn't get out of the warehouse. I was on a forklift just ripping, you know, beer.
Is there like investment opportunities in that? Because sometimes you hear of fighters that quit their job and then they, as a prize fighter, they make quite a bit of money, and they go and end up actually invested in the company they used to work for.
That one's a family business, so I don't think there's like necessarily an investment opportunity in that. But I mean, hey, there was a time I made a beer. I have a beer, a local beer there, and they were distributing my beer for a while, and that was pretty cool.
So maybe you could go, it's something you could go back to once you hang up.
Yeah, you know, if I spend more time trying to push the beer, maybe. Yeah.
Braga's undefeated, and obviously a win would be huge in and of itself, but does being his first loss, does that add to your excitement going into this fight?
Nah, I mean, it's about getting my hand raised. I like the kid. He's a good dude. I don't take any joy in like, but it's business, you know, and that's how I look at it. it's my family or you know, my dream or his family, his dreams. You know, I just got to go do what I got to do.
You have a number of submission wins, but also some TKO victories. Is there anything in his game that you see that might lead towards a submission or a TKO win for you?
I mean, he's a really well-rounded fighter as well. It's just like it all depends like what unfolds in the cage. I think my experience will definitely help though. Like triple the fights he does, and I have a lot of high-level opponents that I've competed against, so I think that matters for sure.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, are we good to go? Wrap it up?
Yep,
Sounds
I'm good.